Welcome to episode 46 of the Busted Buttons video game podcast. And you know what? I was trying to bring the fury, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm hungover today. We are recording this a little behind the scenes. We're recording this the day after St. Paddy's Day. I may have celebrated a little too hard. So if I'm not my normal enthusiastic self, I do apologize in the meantime. I do apologize in advance. The good news
I don't
is,
feel like bringing it either, so we're in trouble for this podcast. Cause I'm sitting over here, I'm like, I'm not hungover, but I'm kind of tired. I'm like, I really don't feel like doing the podcast, but we gotta do the podcast because people know what day it is. I don't want to do it on Friday. People, it takes us about a week to edit this damn thing, but I don't want to do it tomorrow. I want to enjoy the weekend, so we're rolling. It might suck today because I don't want to do it. Red's hungover, but we're rolling. But go ahead with the intro, Red.
So you know what? We're gonna power through, and you better bring it because you put the outline together this week.
Yeah, and I put way too many topics that I had to talk about, which I don't mind talking, but when I have to talk, I'm kind of like, eh.
Oh, don't worry, I'll step up when I need to. I won't be afraid to interrupt. But no, so what we're gonna talk about in episode 46, we're gonna talk about Hick's first thoughts comparing the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X because he's been lucky enough to have his hands on both of them for a little while now. He's going to talk about Astro's Playroom. I almost said playground and it came out Playroom.
That's
anyway,
close enough.
Astro's Playroom, which is one of the first games he played on the PlayStation 5. We're going to do some final thoughts just quickly on Cyberpunk 2077, which we have both beaten now.
That's going to cure your hangover right there when we start talking about that game.
I love that
And also the beer drinking to try to cure your hangover, which people... Take it from experienced drinkers.
It works.
The best cure, okay, there's only one cure for a hangover. That's time and rest. That's the only cure. But if you want to prolong that hangover, maybe, the hair of the, what's it called? The hair of the beast or whatever?
The hair
of the dog. Just drink the next day if you have a hangover, people. It will make you feel better. Now, once again, from experienced drinkers, you can't like sip on a beer like a little bit at a time. No, you gotta slam those bitches, and it will make you feel better eventually.
Get that alcohol back in your system. It will help. We promise. If you're under 21, don't do that.
Yeah, and that's really, that's good. That's good advice, but it's really not good advice. So you all take it whichever way you want to.
And then we're also going to talk about Tiger Woods returning to the PGA Tour 2K franchise. So that's kind of interesting news. And we're going to talk a little bit about games without photo mode and how much that sucks because I love photo mode.
Yes.
And we're also going to talk a little bit about, if we have time, about saving, like autosave versus manual save, just in the state of the save game situation in 2021. But I know, Hick, you are we may not be very excited today, but in general, you're very excited that you've had your hands on both a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X. So I'm going to let you fire away. What are your first thoughts, those two consoles side by side?
It's really just awesome having both of them. Like we've kind of talked before. And I got to put my beer down, man, because as y'all kind of heard me step away from the mic, I just was holding it too long. It just wasn't feeling right. I got to talk without my beer because I use my hands a lot and everything like that. But
that's an understatement.
I am lucky to be in a financial situation to where I can get both of them because I've never been in a situation like this before. So like, it's just, if you're a gamer, it's like the ultimate high having both systems at one time. And I'm not trying to be a dick or piss anybody off or say that I'm better than you. I'm just saying that, I'm lucky and I was able to do it. And it's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you are in that position or could somehow, swing it, whether it be, Best Buy credit cards. Best Buy, now I know these fuckers are hard to find everywhere. You're just lucky if you get it anywhere. But if you can get it at Best Buy or use a credit card, get that ultimate high. Two systems at the same time. It is awesome. But, I'm going to start off kind of like, actually down the outline a little bit. I'm very surprised how close these two systems are for me. Like going from last generation, I was like, I'm a PlayStation guy. That's what I like Xbox, but I'm a PlayStation guy. Now there's a little bias there because I had the base Xbox One, but I had the PS4 Pro. So the PS4 Pro was better. It had 4K. I think it might have 60 frames per second versus 30 for the base models. I'm not confident on that spec.
I think it depends on the games. I think it all depended on the game.
Yeah, but anyways, towards the end of last gen, I played a lot third party on PlayStation. And so obviously I came to love it, didn't use my Xbox. So going into this gen, I was like, oh, PlayStation guy, I'm definitely going to be that one. And so I got the Xbox first, really, really like it. And then I finally got my PlayStation. I was like, okay, hopefully I return to the Xbox. Hopefully I play it some. Hopefully it's not just, PlayStation. Well, actually, hopefully I was hoping that it would be PlayStation playing all the time. And,
that's when
the PlayStation is great. The Xbox is great, but really they are very close. I'm going to kind of go through from my point of view, kind of my first impressions of both systems, I've kind of already talked about the Xbox, but I'm going to now compare it to the PlayStation 5. Ooh, man, I've already talked for a while, Red. I'll take over. I'll take over this podcast, man.
Oh, but it's okay. I can jump in. I can't speak. I don't have a PS5, but
okay, go ahead.
I can talk Xbox though. We are in a good situation. You're absolutely right. And I'm with you. I intend on having both at some point. You know, one, I do not have the energy or the patience to do this online shit for two consoles. Like trying.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better though now.
It has gotten a lot better. People are seeming to get their hands on them. After I got my Series X, I'll be honest, I tried a couple times for the PlayStation as well, especially before you got yours, because you were trying to get one too. And after that, I was like, fuck it ain't worth this. I'll wait till I can walk into a Target and find one on the shelf.
I said that too for the PlayStation, and it lasted like a week. I was like, nah, I want it now.
I've held it off, but part of it for me, and you know, you talk about the relative strengths and weaknesses, and I know we're going to kind of go through some of what we think are the strengths of both. You know, part of it for me is just neither one has that killer app, like that killer game.
No,
that I absolutely need right now. And don't get me wrong, the games that have been upgraded for both of them look absolutely stunning. Or at least I can speak for the Series X, and you've raved about how good they look on the PS5.
And I will step in right here. One thing that I love about the Xbox over the PlayStation is that on Xbox, it shows like a little icon of what games are optimized for the X or the, you know, I was going to mention another system that is apparently next gen, but I don't believe it is. So let's just say it's optimized for the Xbox Series X. I love having that icon because you truly know, whereas PlayStation doesn't have that, so I'm not exactly sure what games are optimized, which aren't. If they optimize all the games, I'm not really sure how that works on the PlayStation side, so Xbox did win that battle.
No, definitely. And that's one thing, you know, you love about Game Pass. You just get in there and it like you said, it shows XS.
Well, it's a store. It's not just Game Pass. It's the whole store.
Like on the, you're right, on the labeling and everything.
And they also have the categories for games that are optimized, because that's the only place I go, the ones that are optimized. And so it's nice even having that category to where you go, okay, these are the best games on Xbox.
Now, I will absolutely say I am excited to try out some of the DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And I'll obviously let you talk the advantages here in a minute. But like I said, you needed a break there. But no, the things I've read about it and how good of a controller it is, what it does, like I'm excited to try it. I'm excited to experience it. Have you enjoyed the DualSense so far?
I have, and overall, really, the controllers are very close. But the thing I love about the PlayStation is, first of all, it's a little bigger, and you don't realize how small the Xbox controller is until you have the PS5 controller in your hand. But yes, the adaptive, the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers, it makes it feel more like an experience. And Xbox is missing that a little bit. So when I have that controller in my hand, and overall, you're going to see a theme where the PS5 is just more of an experience, whereas I always kind of say the Xbox is more of an upgrade, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but like, you know, like, you got those two features, the 3D audio, I believe the Xbox actually. I'm not sure, but I think it does have 3D audio.
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
But like, you know, just first of all, there's these blue lights, like how the controller looks. There's these blue lights on the PS5 that go around the touchscreen. It looks like beautiful. And to some people, that might not really matter, but those little things like that and how like cool things look, like those are big things to me. And you know, I love that touchscreen button. I think it's bigger on this controller, which the controller is bigger than past controllers. And people have complained about being too big. I've not had that problem yet. Now my fingers have gotten fatter in recent years, so that might have a little bit to do with it.
What do we always say? COVID weight. COVID weight. Come on.
But so far, I am loving the controller, and it has this like clear cover over the buttons that just looks sharp and sleek as hell. That might be kind of the same definition of a word. But anyways,
you know, it's all good. We'll run with it.
Yeah, and like here's the thing. I thought the white, you've complained about the white. I thought the white color of both the controller, what we're talking about, and also the system, I thought it was going to bother me, but that whole white gives it like a sleekness, a clean feel. It feels more futuristic, which is kind of why I'm going to say two things actually. One, I feel like the PS5 is more of an experience, and two, I feel like it's more next gen. Well, that's kind of going on the same thing. I feel like it's more next gen than the Xbox just because of how it looks. Like, you know, a lot of people hate the design of the PS5, including you, but, you know, that's fine. That's fine. But I like it. I like the way it looks. I think it's different. I think it's better than a boring old boxer, you know, whatever. So overall, like, there's a lot of things, you know, I like about the PS5. And here I'm going to talk about some other things that I like.
Yeah.
First of all, little things that I've kind of talked about. The user interface, the graphics, the animation, and then also the music. Like PS5 has that. Now, Xbox has a little bit of the graphics and the animations, but it doesn't have the music, which they can obviously do that with an update. But like it's just missing from the Xbox. And just a little thing like that makes the PlayStation feel like more of an experience. I can stay on the home screen forever and still enjoy because there's music playing in the background. Little things like that are important to me.
I'm a little torn on that one because it's like the PlayStation 4 had the background music. You do like the themes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The background music though, like I love. Okay, first of all, I love the themes. Like the PlayStation 4, the fact that you could get game specific themes. I think mine has been God of War since I got it. It looks beautiful.
I always go with the original, man. I always stick with the original. Go ahead though.
But the music though, I'm kind of torn on this because there are times I will fire up the console and then kind of walk away from it, and it sits there on the home screen for a while. Whether it's because work pulled me away or I'm in the kitchen trying to cook something, whatever it might be. And, sometimes not having that music is better, in my opinion. Just like, especially if you fire it up, like let's say we're working from home, we're going through COVID, and just having it turned on and you have to take calls or whatever, and you don't have to mute it because there's no music. For me, I think there are advantages to both. And
not all of us are on the phone 5 hours a day like you, man.
Oh, it's fucking awful. Don't even get me started on that. That's a podcast unto itself. Yep. But so I'm a little torn on the music, but I completely agree with you on the themes though. I love the themes, the animations, at least on the PlayStation 4. So if they've continued those into the PlayStation 5, then I am all for it. So I will let you continue working your way through your PlayStation 5 though. I decided to jump in on that because I had a little different opinion, but
that's mostly all I wanted to say about the PS5. But the Xbox Series X, like I said, it's not that far behind. Like from my experience so far, Game Pass is so much better than PlayStation Now. Now, PlayStation does it a little bit differently. They have PlayStation Now, which is $5 less a month, but then you have to pay for PlayStation Plus. Right. So ends up being that's $5 a month too. So, or 5 divided by 60 divided by whatever the numbers are, it fucking adds up to $5 a month if you buy it annually. So that's kind of the same thing there, whereas PlayStation just divided it. Game Pass includes Xbox Live Go. I just got done doing numbers all day, man. But you know where I was going with that. So, but yeah, Game Pass, PlayStation Now, it's kind of PlayStation Plus collection, that is good, but I've played most of those games. So Game Pass, hands down, by far, a lot better right now. The share button on the Xbox is not the share button, the capture button. That is in such a better location. Well, first of all, the PlayStation doesn't even have a dedicated capture button. Now you just have to hold down the it's not starting to select anymore, I know that, but the select button, you just hold that down for 2 seconds. It takes a screenshot on the PS5, whereas on the Xbox, it has a dedicated button. Absolutely love that.
Tap it. You don't have to hold it down.
I think it's in a fantastic location. Then going back to the select and start buttons, yes, I know they're different. That's not the name. Those are a lot easier to access on the Xbox controller. And then here's one of my favorite things. Those bumps, on those little tiny bumps on the back of the Xbox controller.
The texture.
I didn't even know that I loved that until I got it, man. That is just huge. And apparently the PlayStation has that, but you can barely feel it. There's not that much there. It still feels very smooth. But that Xbox, you can feel it. And it honestly does help out with the grits because, you get nervous during a big fight or whatever, you're getting close to being that challenge that you've not been able to beat. Your hands, or at least my hands, they start to sweat a little bit. So having those bumps,
I'm with you there.
Oh man, that is absolutely huge. And then Xbox, kind of Alexa. It has Alexa. I was going to throw it to you there for a second because I was losing my. You know what? I'm going to throw it to you right here because I'm kind of losing my voice. Kind of just continue on with some of the things you like about Xbox, I guess.
I've loved the Series X. I mean, I've raved about it since I got it. Like you said, the Game Pass is. I joke that there's not a killer game right now that you have to have, but the Game Pass, it just means you have that library right there at your hands. The Bethesda sale is finally gotten confirmed. So all those games are on Game Pass now. I think they just added 20 of those Bethesda games. So that's awesome news. Yep. I'm completely with you on the share button. PlayStation had that, they were ahead of the game last generation. The Xbox controller did not. You had to double press the Xbox button. That was I completely agree. I love the new share button. Like you said, great location. Easier to use.
Now, the PS5 isn't bad. It's just a little bit more difficult than the Xbox is.
And when you talk about the texture and the bumps on the back of the controller, I absolutely 100% agree that they are awesome. And I also didn't know I wanted them until I had them because I still play the Switch quite a bit with the Pro controller. Yep. And it's got a little bit of the texture. But man, going back to the original Xbox One controller now, it just feels so wrong. not having those bumps, not having that texture. So I'm with you. I think that is such a great feature. It makes you feel like you've got a really good grip on it. You're not going to lose it. I'm completely with you. I was a huge fan of the bumps on the back of the controller. So, I mean, all in all, like I said, I can't really compare them head to head like you can because you have them both.
I do want to say something about the capture, like we're talking about the capture button. Also the app, like being able to take your screenshots from the app, like that is humongous because we're on our phones a lot. And a lot of times I post to social media from my phone, even though I'm at home. Like I used to always post from the my computer. And I don't know, one day I just found it easier to do on my phone. So being able to get those pictures on the app and how the fuck PlayStation doesn't allow you to do that is beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me. But with PlayStation, you can hook up a wireless mouse and keyboard to it, which is nice. And apparently I've read that Microsoft is not that good at that capability, which blows my mind.
Which is shocking.
Microsoft computers, like I would think that would be. Now, I'm not tested that theory out, but I've just heard that actually PlayStation is better for keyboard. So while the photos don't go to your app, you can use a keyboard to kind of type in faster.
Helps.
So that's nice. Now, last gen, they had an app that you could do it with. And they do technically have an app, but it's the remote play app, and it switches off everything. It's a pain in the fucking ass. So, PlayStation, step your game up there. Let me get my freaking screenshots from the app so that I can post them to social media. So, anyways, I think that's really, I'm kind of looking, like I said, Xbox does feel more like an update than next gen, but, kind of reiterating what I already said, I thought the PlayStation was going to be so far above it, like so far past it. And a lot of that was my own bias, but I think it's just getting to the point that at the end of the day, all that really matters is that these games look good and they play good. Absolutely. And on both systems, that is what is going on. So overall, each system has its own different features. If you want my recommendation, people, buy both of them and enjoy each of these little features that come from each of these systems. Now, here's one thing. I'm curious to see how the future plays out with this because the PS5, dude, it is freaking humongous. Like this thing is gigantic and it's a little bit too big. I will be honest with you. The Xbox, I think, is the right size, but I find myself wondering, even though technology parts, hardware is very small these days, going forward, is there something in that PlayStation 5, and that's the reason why it's bigger, that's going to help it more in the future? And a lot that's kind of with the whole 8K gaming that I was thinking.
And I really think that there will be, because we've seen refreshes, wasn't there the PS3 or PS4 Slim, and then
the PS3 had 4 different iterations.
Right. So I do feel like that as we get a few years into this generation, it's not so much that the components will necessarily get that much smaller, but they'll run more efficiently. There'll be less heat. Because I've heard part of the reason the original, the Xbox One was so huge was cooling. Because it's they learn their lesson from the whole overheating.
The PS5 gets hot, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is driven by they need the space for airflow. Otherwise, when you're running 4K, 8K, whatever, that shit gets hot. I mean, it's and cooling is so important. So I do think as these components get more efficient, not necessarily smaller, but just more efficient, then maybe we could get a refresh of the model.
I guess I was just wondering if the PlayStation put something in there that the Xbox didn't, that we're not going to see used until 3 or 4 years from now. I guess that's where I was kind of getting with that whole thing.
And that's a really good question, but it's you know me, I'm not a fan of the way the PS5 looks. The size, I don't think would necessarily bother me too much. It's probably going to stand next to my entertainment system when I get it eventually. So just like my Xbox does now, the Xbox Series X stands next to it. So I'm not necessarily that worried about the size. But yeah, I mean, they're both big. I mean, let's be honest.
It still looks sexy, but yeah, they're both big. But, kind of going on how I knew that PlayStation 3 had 4 iterations. I could be wrong on that. I'm not going to lie. But the reason that I kind of know that it had a lot of iterations is because recently I played the game Astro's Playroom, which I highly recommend for anybody that is getting a PS5. I would highly recommend that your first game be Astro's Playroom. It's about a 4-hour game. I beat it in the first night, and I have kids now. Granted, I didn't help out much with the kids that first night because the new video game system. I mean, my wife, I was like, hey, you got to give me a night, and she did. So, but this game right here, it kind of takes you back to the history of PlayStation, which is why I knew how many parts it had, because you go around collecting artifacts, and these artifacts are PlayStation parts from the past. So it's kind of cool to have that history right there of Astro's Playroom, and then it also shows you what this next gen system can do. With it actually uses all the buttons that it's supposed to use. It's supposed to use the adaptive, haptic feedback, and
adaptive triggers.
Yeah, it uses those things. It shows you how it can work. So right there, hey, I'm going to give you the history of PlayStation, but I'm also going to show you what this system does. It's a great first game to bring you into this next generation, and then it's a 3D platformer. It looks absolutely
which we're
gorgeous.
Always fans of course. We love 3D platformers.
And it's free. It's fucking free. So all you gotta do, you do have to download it when you get the system, but
right.
I mean, right there, like a free game takes you through the history, shows you what the system can do.
I think
looks
that's such
beautiful.
I think that's such a huge point because Wii Sports is somehow became like one of the greatest selling games of all time. But the reason is they included it with the damn Wii. And there for a while, the Wii was the hottest thing ever. And so the fact that they make Astro's Playroom, I swear I will pronounce it right by the end of this podcast. Yep. Astro's Playroom, yes, you have to download it.
I never mispronounce anything on this podcast, Red.
Never. But, the fact that they included it as a free download, it's basically a pack-in game. That is just genius move, I think, on Sony's
But usually pack-in
part.
games are not that good. This game is really good. If they don't make it like a full-scale game, they are just that's a lost opportunity right there.
Right, I completely agree. And the fact that like you said, the whole idea of a pack-in game usually is to show what this system is capable of. Wii Sports was all about the motion controls for bowling and tennis and all that other stuff. Astro's Playroom, like you said, I haven't played it yet, but if it really does show the haptic feedback, the adaptive triggers, those features that you would hope that, yes, that sucks you in as a player, but you would hope the developers game developers would say, okay, here's how, here it works. Here's how they work. It can be used in all these different scenarios. I'm hoping game developers really take advantage of that because I feel like, the Switch had its HD rumble or whatever in the Joy-Cons, and I feel like no one took advantage of that after 1-2 Switch was the game that, one of the early games.
Maybe. I never played it.
Me
I looked at that game, I was like, nah.
So it seems to me though that they just, they just dropped it. No one ever took advantage of it. So I'm really hoping that by including these, this pack-in game, Astro's Playroom, that shows you here's what it's capable of. Here's how amazing it feels. I hope developers really take advantage of that and run with it. So I know I will absolutely play it whenever I do get a PS5 down the road.
I recommend it should be your first game for all PS5 owners.
Yeah,
it's only a 4-hour game. It's not going to take you that long.
Exactly. And plus I like how it has the history of the PlayStation and all that stuff in there.
And it's the parts are very detailed. You can actually rotate it and you can zoom in and the detail is amazing. It looks, because I have the PS4 Pro
really
and I kind of was comparing it when I got that artifact. It looks dead up like my PS4 Pro.
No, that's really cool. So I'm excited. I want to test it out because, like I said, I do want to feel like a game like that takes full advantage of those features. So I'm excited to eventually play it. But kind of shifting gears to a game both of us have actually played. I know I had finished Cyberpunk a little while ago. You finished it a little more recently. Both of us played on the Series X. What are some of your final thoughts? Because I feel like I've shared some of mine a little bit, but I'll let you kick this one off. What are some of your final thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077?
That could be the best game ever, but it's not going to be because of all the issues that it has. And I mean, I bashed on it at the beginning because it does have a lot of issues. I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't have glitches, that it doesn't have bugs. It has probably the most in a game that I've ever played. But here's what I will say. This game is fantastic. It is fantastic. It is so much fun. And this probably is not a good thing, but you get to a certain point where you really start enjoying the game and you look past those glitches and those bugs. You're like, I know they're there, but I'm having so much fun with this game that I'm going to enjoy it. And we do want to say one thing. This is our final quick thoughts because here in a few episodes down the road, we are going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, throughout the whole episode. So we're going to drop some quick thoughts right here, but we will have an episode focused entirely around this game. But no, just I guess when it all was said and done, I mean, it's a very GTA 5-like game, but one thing that I love about it is that it's futuristic. It obviously takes place in 2077, and you see some of those future, hey, somebody not knowing what this game's about, that could possibly mean something else. You never know. Like, it's not 100% accurate if you don't know anything about the game that 2077 means the year. Smart ass. All right. So, anyways, I forgot where I was. Kind of go ahead with your final thoughts. I forgot where I was going.
It's all good. No, I'm with you. It has the bones to be such an amazing, like the bones to be one of the best games ever. Like, I loved, the controls. I loved the abilities you had. The weapons. There may have been a few too many weapons, but I loved the variety. And then, the main story itself was good, but not great. But some of the side stories I loved. Like, Judy was an amazing character. And I just totally blanked. Like, Rogue's story with Johnny was a good one. The racer girl whose name I just forgot, that she's trying to get revenge for her dead
I know
husband.
you're talking about, but I forgot that one too.
I should have written down some of these names.
Yep. We weren't going to talk. We'll write them down. We're actually talking about it longer.
For sure. So, all in all, like, Cyberpunk, I thought was an amazing package. I love the tech abilities, like the quick hacking and to me, the different things you could do with the quick hacks was just so much fun, and it gave you such a good variety on how you approached any fight you wanted. And there are a ton of fights if you do all the little police missions, all the side missions. But, so all in all, I'm 100% with you. I loved the city. I loved the controls, the way the game played. It's got that hybrid first-person shooter / RPG. So it's a little different than something like playing a Call of Duty or Halo or anything like that, because it's a little more RPG focused. But man, did I love the skill trees and just, like I said, all the abilities, guns were great. Maybe a little too much stuff to work with, but
after finishing it, I still thought it was too ambitious of a game, to be honest with you. And one thing I don't like is when you can't fill out your skill trees. Like, there's so much that you can't accomplish in the game, and I absolutely hate that. Now it does offer to replayability. Like you've kind of talked about, you can go through this game and you can play it the entirely a different way. Like, I went around with a shotgun and I was just blasting fuckers in the face all game long, but you were cyber or hacking them. It's like you kind of went about a different way. So there's a lot of replayability, and like those skill trees probably can't be filled up because of all these different ways that you can go about the game. But I didn't like that part of it. That's one thing. Like, you go down here and say there's a lot of things I did like, and there's some things that I didn't like. And it all kind of comes back to just really being too ambitious. There's just too much in the game. There's too much to pick up in the game. It reminds me a lot of Skyrim, and why I kind of didn't like that game. Like, the game is definitely a little overwhelming, and that's why I didn't know there's a fucking call your car icon until the very fucking last hours of the game. Like, they showed you that at the beginning, and then they throw 100,000 things on you, and then I'm sitting here with a piece of shit car the whole time. I had that badass car that I could just call.
You probably spent 100,000 credits on.
Oh man, I was so pissed off. Like, the thing is, like, I knew it was there, but I was paying so much other attention to like the health, because I was, me, I run in like, guns blazing, so I had to use a lot of the up button to recover my health. And then I don't remember what the other buttons were, but I had to use a lot of those. But I was so mad when I bought that. I can't remember what car it is, but it's the one that looks like a Lamborghini. Like, I bought that one.
And then you parked it and could never find it again.
Yeah, it was all black. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? You buy these cars and then you just lose them right away? Like, that is BS. And then, people, if you are playing this game, all these cars that you buy, you can call these cars at any time throughout the game. Don't be like me. Don't play 130 hours of this crap and not know that you can call your car, because I'm sitting there at the end of the game and I'm like, why would I call these cars? Why would I buy these cars? There's no point to buying these cars. I look it up online and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me, man.
So I will ask, what did you, and I'll answer too, because I know you've been talking for a second, but what did you think a long time ago on one of our episodes, we talked about celebrities in video games, and whether it's voice acting.
I already know where you're going. Keanu Reeves was fucking awesome in this game, dude. Like, Johnny Silverhand, like, he kind of, I wouldn't say he made this game, but just his personality, his acting was just perfect for this game. Like, I mean, his character, Johnny Silverhand, just probably my favorite character in the game. I think it added so much to the game. So I loved it. Love having a celebrity in the game. And kind of like, you already touched on this, but Night City, explore Night City, the colors of Night City, and then also the outskirts. Like, there's not a lot of outskirts to the game, but you can get outside of the city and do things, which I love. And I feel like it's going to do that whole GTA 5, where I think Cyberpunk 2077, like there's never going to be a second one. I think they're just going to keep on adding content like GTA 5, and we're going to see that with a lot of franchises going forward, I think.
Well, CD Projekt Red is known for putting out expansions. I mean, they did it for The Witcher 3, so I'm completely with you.
Blood and Wine was another game. It was
that could have been a game unto itself.
Yeah, but I kind of want to keep on talking about awesome games, but I kind of want to go to a game that was awesome, but we know it's not really awesome anymore because one, it's not freaking available, and two, we don't play golf games anymore. But that's the recent news that it's not the same EA franchise, but Tiger Woods is going to appear on the cover of the PGA Tour 2K, which I'm not even sure who does that, to be honest with you. But it's just,
I think it's still EA, but I'm not 100% positive.
No, it's not. I know it's not EA. I do know that.
Oh, it's probably Ubisoft. They do everything else.
Yeah, actually, it might be Ubisoft. Well, that's a good point. They do everything, but I'm not positive. I'm like 99% sure that this is not EA because I believe that there's no way they're making two. I don't know, but I don't believe it's EA. But this is a game that Red and I played way back in the day. Had a ton of fun with it. So Red, I kind of want to throw it to you right here because I've been talking a lot. How do you feel? I know we don't play golf games a lot, but will this bring you back to golf? And how do you feel about Tiger Woods making an appearance once again on a golf video game?
Well, I think the segue from Keanu Reeves to Tiger Woods right there is talking about celebrities in video games.
Good. Damn, we're getting better, folks.
So we're getting better. But no, I'm a fan. Like, I mean, obviously, Tiger brings interest to golf. Like, he drives viewers. He drives the narrative. Whether he's winning or not, it doesn't matter because he was so good for so long.
Yeah, he was.
Like someone who dominates like that. And and he was a bit of a person, like a bit of a mystery off the course. He kept very private life until, of course, all that blew up very publicly, unfortunately. And that, well, I don't want to say unfortunately because, cheating on your wife, all that stuff is not a good thing, obviously. So, and obviously I know he's dealt with some of his drug and alcohol issues, but his personal life got pulled into the public, which it happens with celebrities. I do get it, but him stepping away from golf was bad for golf. And I think it was bad for golf video games as well. I knew I was going to get back to video games at some point.
Well, what shocked me was EA didn't take him off until 4 years after the scandal. Because my thinking was the scandal happened and then EA took him off the game. But no, it happened 4 years later. So it seems to be really golf related because he kind of.
I think they're more worried about him not winning. Yeah, but so I'm excited that they bring him back. I mean, that franchise. Because that franchise was amazing. It was amazing for so long. Like, we played the absolute shit out of it, whether it was, college or even some after, but especially in college because we drink and play Tiger Woods golf. That was Drinking Tiger. That was our game. I know we've talked about that on this podcast before, but, so to me, you had Rory on there for a little while. They did just, the club was, I think, the most recent iteration. And it's not the same. Like, it's just like if they made a new football game and it wasn't Madden, it's you lose something, whether you like Tiger or not. And that's, whatever, as a golfer or as a person, whatever.
Yeah.
It was his franchise. It was absolutely his franchise. And when his face wasn't on it anymore, it did hurt it, I think. And just like it hurt golf, him being away from it, I think people were like, oh, it's not the same to say Rory's PGA Tour.
Rory hasn't won 15 majors either. He's won like 3 or 4, I think. So
I'm all for them bringing him back. I hope he's got his personal life stuff together. I don't necessarily. I know he had that wreck recently and all that, but I don't necessarily keep up with too much of it. I do enjoy watching golf, but there's a hell of a lot of good characters, including Tiger. So I hope he's gotten his personal stuff together. I'm happy to see him back on there. What about you?
It's the same. And I try to separate. Like people that are golfers, versus their personal lives. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
For example, Chris Brown is a piece of shit. But I like his music. Like Floyd Mayweather, another piece of shit. But I like to watch him as a boxer. So for me, do I agree with all that stuff he did in his personal life and his scandal? No, obviously not. Especially having $3. But I am able to separate. Okay, he's a golfer, and then he had this issue going on, which was not right. But I can still like him as a golfer, and that's kind of what I want.
One of the best ever.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get back to. He had that brand persona. Like, he really carried that EA game. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, Rory, PGA Tour, EA PGA Tour. I was like, I don't want to play that game. And it was probably the exact same game. And they only made it for 1 year. And they're like, well, this didn't sell very well, so we're not going to do it again. So, I mean, I guess I was confused. I've already said this, but I don't understand why they parted 4 years after the scandal. If they would have parted during the scandal, that would have made sense. But, it's like, oh, I guess he started sucking, so they got rid of him. But, golf missed Tiger for a long time. And, like, he's trying to get his life together and be a better person. So you got to give him, credit for that. But they missed Tiger, and then he finally won last year. But, it's kind of, it was all coming together until that wreck. But, he was kind of coming back into the spotlight. And I know that me and you, there's no way we would ever play a golf game with Rory. And that's nothing against Rory. It's just the brand persona is not there. But,
you know what's sad? I got Rory's golf game for free because I had a EA's, whatever EA's.
Well, it's on Game Pass now too, I believe.
It's on Game Pass now, but I got it a couple years ago for free as part of EA's.
How was it?
Never played it. That's exactly like you just said. You never I got it because it was free, and I'm like, I miss playing golf games. It's relaxing. It's like city building games or something like that. Sometimes you just want something relaxing, and I never touched it. And I just, and I don't necessarily think that had a whole lot to do with, Tiger versus Rory, but part of it's it's not the same. It really,
it's not.
It could be the exact same game, but it felt like a different franchise altogether. So I'm glad he's coming back. But, I will say, golf games, you see those beautiful scenery, the beautiful courses, the great, amazing looking players, golf games are just like golf on HD. It benefited from HD so much. Mm-hmm. One thing I love about having those beautiful courses is being able to take the pictures in photo mode with, that's become such a more common thing than it used to be. Like, I absolutely love photo mode in games. I don't spend a lot of time playing around with it, but I love it. So I got, we got us thinking, you talk about these beautiful golf courses, this beautiful scenery, and how photo mode can capture that. But you've played something recently that actually we hadn't talked about. We played something recently that didn't have photo mode. So why don't you tell me a little bit, do you like photo mode and do you miss it when it's not there?
I do like it. I've only gotten into it recently, and we did not play this game. I played this game, and it was Sackboy, but it was one of those things, I would always wait until a cutscene or something to take screenshots. And then, as I started gaming more and more, I started seeing photo mode more and more. I kind of started to use it a little bit. Now, I don't get into all the editing and stuff like that. I think it's very cool. I think it needs to be there because we saw with Ghost of Tsushima what people can do if you give them those creative tools. And some of the screenshots for Ghost of Tsushima were amazing. So, and I love seeing those. So, I'm all about photo mode, and it's not just taking pictures, it's being able to edit the pictures. Yeah, I don't do it, but there are the people that know all this crap that I don't know, photography, and they know how to make something look good. So I absolutely love it, and social media gets more and more popular. Well, it's already pretty much, it's not at the top of popularity, but it's pretty damn close so far. But no, I absolutely love it, and that kind of brought me to this point of thinking about games that didn't have photo mode with Sackboy, and it was really frustrating. I've already had the issues with the whole PlayStation 5 sharing. you got to use a keyboard. It doesn't download to the freaking app, but I want to take so many photos, PlayStation, because I was so excited for the system. And I get this first game, at their Astro's Playroom. I took a couple screenshots with Astro's Playroom, but it's such a quick game that you don't take a lot. But with Sackboy, I was all excited to take all these screenshots, but there's no photo mode, and it has the icons on the screen the entire time, which actually Astro's Playroom did not do that. There's a lot of moments where the icons are all off the screen, but Sackboy just puts them there. They leave them there, and I hate taking pictures with the icon. Annoying. Yep, I used to do it back in the day, but now, with photo mode and everything, I hate those icons. I cannot take pictures with them and everything. So, I love it. I'm glad that they have it in a lot of games, but these games that don't have it, even if it's a 3D platformer where the camera is fixed, like Sackboy, you still need to put photo mode in your game. But what's your opinions on the whole subject?
I completely agree, and I'm with you that I don't spend a ton of time in there doing the editing and filters and all this stuff. I know some people love that shit though, and I am all for it because it means the screenshots we get to see other people post are fucking beautiful. So I am all for the tools being there. And one thing that I do love, I love that you mentioned the icons being on the screen because that is annoying. And anytime back when we were a little more active on our Zelda accounts and stuff, we had Instagram, and anytime you wanted to post a Zelda picture, you had to crop out the health bar, the rupee counter, the user interface, just the user interface. You had to crop that out, and it could kind of jack up your pictures a little bit, or sometimes you couldn't get them all the way.
They would be too wide often. You just have to make it crop the top, crop the bottom. They'd be way wide.
So to me, just being the photo mode alone, just for being able to remove those icons and the user interface is so clutch. But then, like you said, you put in the editing tools.
Move the camera
filters.
around too.
Oh, love that. One of my favorite things that I saw in Cyberpunk's photo mode was you can change your pose. Whenever you're taking a picture of your character, you can actually change their pose. So you're not stuck in whatever position you were in when you hit photo mode. Like you could have like leaning on a wall, sitting down. You can change your facial expressions. Like, so to me, and I think that's been in a few other games as well. But so to me, I love that it's gone beyond just taking a screenshot. You know, it's so much more than that. Like I said, you can really frame and stage a great picture now. So I am all for it. I want to see them continue like making it more and more powerful. I won't always take advantage of all the editing and things like that. Because like I said, that's not necessarily our skill. That's not my skill set.
And read these black bars during cutscenes, dude.
Yes.
Gaming companies, gaming developers, quit doing this black bar shit during the cutscenes, because the cutscenes are the best time to take pictures. And when you put that black bar, I gotta crop that out. And then once again, my picture is way too wide. It doesn't always work out on social media platforms. So quit with the black bars, damn it. I know what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to do widescreen like the movies. You're not a fucking movie. You're a video game. So quit doing the damn black bars on the cutscenes. But anyways, photo mode, it's an important concept or component to gaming. And what other component that's always been important to gaming since the first Zelda game is the save mechanic. And why the hell are we talking about saving? Here's the reason we are talking about saving. And man, I don't know where I got fired up. Like I came to this podcast, like I wasn't really energized. I wasn't about doing this podcast, but now I'm just getting pissed off. Because
once we get rolling, we're good. Once we get rolling,
the other day, I lost around 3 hours of AC Valhalla.
Oh, that's
I thought to myself, how the hell does this happen in 2021 with like cloud saves? Because here's the thing, it wasn't like one save that messed up. No, we're talking about a 3-hour period, which I save a lot because I don't like redoing shit. Like I probably saved, 10 to 15 times. And so it wasn't one save that went bye-bye. It was an entire gaming period. And I was like, how the hell does this happen? With cloud saves and everything, how the hell is my save file not anywhere? And I cleared out a whole damn area. So, it just, in this day and age, like, especially me and you that don't have a lot of time, like, this is something that can honestly break a game. Because I was like, you know what? I'm really enjoying AC Valhalla. So I'm going to let this one slide. But I've heard about other people, because I looked this up online, people losing like 50, 60 hours of gameplay. I don't really understand how that works, but ridiculous. I know that I lost a couple of days. Like I had played one day, but I had not played the other day. So it was, a couple of days in between plays. So I don't know exactly how all that works, but just if it happens again, I am done with the game. And with the cloud save and everything that's going on, like first of all, how my manual saves didn't work, and then how the cloud saves didn't work. Like what the fuck?
That is absolutely mind-boggling. Like I said, it's not just one save file got corrupted. Whatever. It's multiple things, multiple issues. And I know, we talked about some of Cyberpunk's bugs earlier and how glitchy it was. I know there was I think there was an issue with saves in Cyberpunk that like if your inventory had too much crap in it. So it's so random. And I get coding is not easy. I completely understand that. Like creating video games is not easy, but man,
this is the thing we got to get right though.
Right. Something as fundamental as saving, especially you're talking about a giant 100-hour open world game where people might sit down and play for 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours in a row. And sometimes you don't think about saving, just so it's very frustrating when it happens because you're absolutely right. I'm the same way as you. I hate replaying games. It's just a pain in the ass, or replaying sections that I shouldn't have to. So I completely with you. It's 2021. Let's get this shit together.
Come on, Ubisoft, whatever your name is. Step your game up. And then apparently I had this big upgrade, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. And apparently there's this game crashing bug that's still in there. I know game, like you said, game development is hard. There are things that happen, but damn it, if you throw out a 16 gigabyte update, it better update that freaking game crashing bug, Ubisoft.
Especially if it's known.
So whatever. Anyways, Red, I am worked up, man. I'm almost out of breath, man. Now, that's
we brought it a little better than I thought we would today.
Screaming and yelling, but it's also a lot of me fat, So, you go ahead and wrap up.
I'm going to go sleep off my hangover here in just a second. So all the links below are down in the description.
Next week. What are we doing next week? Or not next week, next episode.
More industry news.
Ooh, yeah, I thought we already agreed on that. But yeah,
yeah.
we're doing more industry next.
Yep.
Episode.
So we're taking a little break from doing games for a hot second.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll do Cyberpunk 2077 here in a little while.
Yep.
We don't know exactly which episode, but next episode will be the gaming industry again.
Absolutely. So all the links that we're going to talk about are below in the description for our podcast. You can support us on Patreon or PayPal. Obviously, if you don't want to support us financially, leave us a review. Give us those 5 stars. We love it. It helps us. And you can also check out, we have a great merchandise gaming site, tgpzgaming.com. We may earn a commission on sales there. It is affiliate shops. So how about you tell everyone where else we are?
Yeah, but Hot Topic only gives me 1%, so it ain't that.
Oh, those bastards.
Anyways, you can also check us out on YouTube. We got 2 guys playing Zelda, and then we also got TGPC Gaming. 2 guys playing Zelda. We have a lot of videos, a lot of views, lots of subscribers. Don't do a lot with it nowadays because we just don't have the time. But, it's a good YouTube channel, TGPC Gaming. Mostly just put our podcasts on there. We're on Discord. Go check out our Discord. We interact with people every single day there. We're talking gaming. We have a lot of fun. Definitely check that out. And you can catch us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, @BustedButtonsPC. But, Red, for not really being ready today, not being that energized, and you being hungover, man, I think this was a pretty good podcast. I got worked up out of nowhere. I don't know why, but really had a lot of fun today. Really good to get back to the gaming industry. Really excited to talk about next episode, and we will see you all on that next episode.